was born less than human. I know it sounds crazy, but I was really born a robot as a baby. No real life in me, I just played my role. No self-control, I just did what I was told. I got my first order, I was just a day old, but I didn't have a chance cause my heart was way cold.
So, good morning, you guys. It's Monday morning, and I figured my first real video where you're not getting to know me, you're still kind of getting to know me, but I figured I would talk about why I try to stay positive and why that's so important to me now because of where I was at one point. So, I am 14 years old, and I know that's young. You're probably like, she's never been through anything, but I've been through a lot with these 14 years that I've been alive, with friendships stabbing me in the back, with family members just disappearing. It's just, but I know I'm not the only one to go through it, so that's why I decided to share it. So I'll start off like this, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. My mom and my dad are not together. And that was the beginning of me falling apart. When the family that I had in my head just kind of never actually came to fruition. It never actually happened. So he was there. He was around for a little bit. He lived with us. And he just disappeared. Like, I can't, and I'm telling you from my younger child perspective, he just disappeared, and he wasn't there, and I thought I had done something. I thought it was my fault, and I thought that maybe I wasn't worth it, or maybe he just didn't like me, or maybe if I did this, he'll come back, and I was kind of beating myself up for the fact that he was gone, and I didn't tell my mom for a long time, and I was basically depressed. Like, I think as depressed as you can get. I would just sit in my room and do nothing. As I got older, I was just quiet, and I didn't really want to ever go and do anything. Certain days you would catch me and I would want to be happy, but it would end up getting ruined. Whenever something would happen, I would just break down. So yeah, I was still going through it, and it was just becoming a lot to handle, and I was taking it out on everyone. I didn't want to be around anyone. And I kind of had made up a story in my head for so many years that he was there, and that I kind of created here was reality, and I created my own reality all the way left field from what was true for me, and it was hard. I don't think I really understood, but I'm just gonna be honest. The part that hurt me the most is when he had another child, not because he had another child, but because he shouldn't have been able, in my head, he shouldn't have been able to have another child with another person because he should have been with us. Okay, focus. He shouldn't have been able, in my head, it shouldn't have ever happened like that because he should have always been with us. And I think that it still affects the way that I look at my siblings. Because even if it was good that he wasn't in our household, at the time, me hearing all these stories of them being together and what they did, it was just making me shut down more and more. And it kind of took me to a place of hatred towards a lot of people. It took me to a place of where I regretted being alive. I regretted that he had ever met my mom and that I was brought into this world. I became suicidal for about 2 years quietly. I became suicidal. Nobody knew. I would always, this is hard to talk about because nobody knows, but I would always write letters like goodbye letters, and I just never, or like a letter just explaining what I was going through, but I never had the guts to actually, I guess in a good way, I never had the guts. I still to this day write letters to God, and back then in my letters to God, it would be like, I don't understand why I'm still here, why am I still here, and I would just cry writing. I would just cry and cry because I felt like this is gonna be the day. And I know that's scary to hear, but I always felt like today is the day. But I feel like God helped me through it, and I feel like He was always had my back, and He walked me through it, and I met amazing people throughout the way. I met one of my best friends, Maya, in school, and she always had me smiling, and I met one of my close friends, Sabrina, and basically, they don't know, but they helped me get through a lot of the stuff that I was going through and that I couldn't tell anyone, and they were the first people I ever told that I was having suicidal thoughts. So this is around 6th and 7th grade. I'm just taking you guys through my story. I was the good kid in school. I was great grades. Everything was going great. I still was lost though. Like, I still didn't understand. This is hard. Whew. I still didn't understand why I was feeling like this. I felt like I was losing my mind. And I want you to know, if you're going through this, you're not losing your mind. I'm not going to say it's a normal thing, but I can understand where you're coming from. It's tough not growing up with that picture-perfect family that you wanted. And even though it's so normal nowadays in society, it's not a normal thing. It really, in your head, it's not a normal thing, so I can understand. I got in 7th grade. My dad came back and tried to do the right thing. So he was around, and he would bring his girlfriend around, and we would have fun. We would go do things, and it was a good time. And then we got the bomb dropped on us that we were about to have a sibling. When school started going downhill for me, when drama started coming in, and grades started dropping, and comments on my report card started, my mom was like, okay, pause. I need to take you out. So she dropped the bomb that she was thinking about taking me out of school. So the end of the year comes, and everybody's like, I hope you don't get taken out. I'm gonna really miss you. This is the yearbook signing. Summer comes, and let's just say some drama happens between me and somebody else. And it escalates. Because now we'll just call him X. There's X and Z. So me and Z's drama's going on, but we're still cool. We squash it in 5 minutes. That was Z. So X comes in and tries to ruin my life. Okay, let me explain how. I'm at a family member's house, and I get a text from the girl from Z, and is like, oh, so we're not cool. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, X, just text me all the stuff you've been saying. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, it's cool. I'm done. I'm like, okay, because now I'm upset, right? I'm real upset, okay?
Real upset, okay?
And then I get a text. They're like, Raven, did you see it? I'm like, see what? I'm like, see what? This is my best friend. I'm like, see what? What are you talking about? She was like, oh no. My heart dropped. But I knew it couldn't be nothing like nudes or nothing, because nobody can say they've had my nudes. Girls, don't send nudes. Don't send underwear pics. Do not do it. This is why. Because if you get in a fight, they'll go send it. So don't do it. And it's bad. Don't be a thought. Anyways, back to the story. The person I was arguing with, is like, it's okay. This is what your so-called friend thinks of you. I'm like, oh God, what am I about to click on? I click on it. It's a whole collage of pictures of me that says, this is what blanks look like. I was like, okay. But the funny thing is, it was all regular pictures of me like this and like this. Regular pictures, clothes on. Fill in the blank, it's the H word. You being a hoe? Yeah, this is what hoes look like. Okay. So I'm like, time out. Who did this? So my best friend tells me. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, girl. Thank you. Tells me. I pick up the phone to call Z. I'm like, what is this? I say, let me speak to him. What is going on? What is the problem? Let's just say we had some drama over relationship type stuff, friendship, whatever. He's like, nah, I don't mess with you. Don't call my phone. Leave me alone. Boom. Hung up in my face. I kid you not. I start bawling because I'm like, what just happened? Like, this happened in, kid you not, this all happened in a 20-minute time span. And the person's house I was staying at is at work in the room. So I'm not about to bring this to her, right? And I'm just crying. And my cousin is like, what is wrong? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. There is when I was ready to die. And it's hard to say, but I texted that person and I told him, thank you. Now, if you don't hear from me again, it's your fault. I was scared for myself, and I'm not even joking. I was scared for myself. I was worried that I would get to such a bad point that I would decide that it was time. This is hard, you guys. I've never told anybody the full story. And my mom calls me because she finds out that I've been crying. And she's like, turn off your phone. Turn off the social media. This was probably the most depressed I've ever been in my life. And it took a long time to get out of it. So I come back home and it's going... School started back. And I start hearing my name is all over the school. And I start hearing that people are talking so much junk about me. And I start hearing that I'm all types of names and that I'm this and that I'm that. And that was my biggest nightmare because I had been bullied in school. And so it wasn't nothing new, but this was probably the worst it's ever been. So I had a panic attack. And I just sat in my closet for like 2-3 hours. I just sat there. And for the rest of the week, I just laid on my floor crying all day. And my mom realized that something was wrong. And it got so bad that she asked me that I need to go to the emergency room to be put on suicidal watch. And that's when I realized, you cannot do this. You're better than this. And you need to get yourself together. So I decided from this situation I was going to make good. I decided that I was going to become this positive person. I realized Raven. I was like, Raven, you still got a lot of work to do. What are you doing? Why are you sitting there crying? This is not going to be what defeats me. This is not going to be what takes me out. And I mean, now I'm actually doing pretty good, you know? I feel like I'm happy. And the reason I told you guys this story is because you can't let people get to you. You can't allow people to determine your happiness. You can't allow people to get the satisfaction of making you look bad and you're over here bawling. No, you get your behind up and you get cute. And you be like, oh, they're talking about me? Really? Wow. Okay, next. You move on. The moral of the story is, don't let people determine your happiness. You be happy with yourself. Okay? And live life. And know that everybody goes through something. And know that you're not the only one in this boat. Because I know I'm not the only one that's had this happen. People have had their nudes leaked. That is devastating. I'm sure. I don't know. It couldn't happen to me. But that is a devastating thing. People have had family members die. That's a devastating thing. People have had family members kill other family members. That is a devastating thing. So always think there's something that could be going on with somebody else that's way worse than what's going on with you. And they're still living. You just have to think of it like that. And you have to think about you always have somebody that's still in your corner. I have my mom. My stepdad. I have God. That's why I'm still alive. I kid you not. God is the reason I am still alive to this day. If I did not believe in God, why would I still be alive? I would be dead. And that's not just some, oh, you need to get saved story. That's my truth. That's my reality. I would be dead. But I'm not. He kept me. I hope you guys liked it. Well, this wasn't really for you to like. This was for you to understand why I'm doing this and why I preach positivity. So I hope you guys learned a lesson from this and hope you guys realize that it's never worth it. Never worth it. And that I'm always in your corner. And that God is always in your corner, even if you don't see it. I hope you guys have a great day. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Love you.
I was just chilling in my robot clothes with my robot friends and my robot flows, living robot ways.